It's Lori. I should call this Lori's Bathtub Talks, because here I am again. Best place in the house. Okay, so this time I took a few notes. I'm going to try not to do this too much, but I didn't take a lot of notes, so I can stay a little bit on track, and because I get easily distracted. See, I'm looking down. Maybe notes are a bad idea. I was going to talk about what I was thinking and musing about today, and that was pretty much about what we define as God, and I'm coming from things I was taught in my past. Let's say, for instance, if somebody said that they were Catholic and they were praying to Mary, the Mother Mary, or to Apostle, so-and-so, my family and the churches, a lot of the churches I was in would say that they were making a god out of those people because they were worshiping them. So I was thinking about that today, and also about, like the Buddhist, and there's some other religions that do what people call ancestry worship. And on that line is where my brain was going, and how it's not always fair. I'm not saying that some people don't worship them, or that that's even bad, or that some people don't worship them as God. See, I think there's a difference between worshiping something and worshiping something as God. For one thing, let's say someone says, to Apostle, whatever apostle they pray to, that they need help with something, or they thank them for something. That would have been classified from where I came from as, their person died, you're worshiping them. But it wouldn't be any different than me saying to my daughter, would you please do the dishes? Prayer, it could be called prayer because you're, asking someone to do something. That's not considered worship when I say, hey, Hannah, would you do the dishes? It shouldn't be any more considered worship when you ask someone who's passed into the next life for help. I looked up what God means. I know I've been raised what God means, but sometimes it's curious to see what the dictionary says. And there's all kinds of stuff. But the main thing was the supreme being, the creator, the ruler of the universe. So if that person or people that have passed into another life is not your supreme being, and you don't feel they're the creator of the universe, or ruler of the universe, I should say, then they're not necessarily God to you. So that is a false accusation, telling people that, praying to the dead is making them God. As far as worship, let's see, worship said, reverent honor and homage paid to God or sacred personage, or to any object regarded as sacred. Oh, sorry, I put my finger in front of the lens. So I have to switch arms to get tired. So, asking or thanking is not necessarily worship. Or just talking to like a friend, not necessarily worship. Or it just isn't worship. Worship would be reverent honor and homage. And if you think about it, we probably worship lots of things. Not just dead things, but live things. We're taught to respect our elders. At school you got to obey your teachers and you got to obey your parents. And there's a certain amount of reverence there, which will be considered worship. And it's nothing wrong with that. Now, if it goes too far and you make them your God, that's when you got to ask yourself, do I really want this person to be the ruler of my life? And is it really the right thing to do? You ought to be the ruler of your life. You ought to be the one who dictates to yourself what you do and don't do. You need to start doing things and thinking things that are good. And if you choose to think things that are bad, you're going to pull yourself down. But it's your decision. It shouldn't be someone else's decision what you do. But as far as honoring someone, if they deserve the honor, or they're in a position where you're going to lose your job if you don't, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're keeping up with your moral standards and what is right in your eyes. Sometimes, certain people, like my ex-husband, didn't want to do a lot of the things he was told to do when he was in the Navy. He did the things he was supposed to do, but a lot of times chiefs would have, this image of themselves, and they try to get everybody to do these ridiculous things, and he'd tell me, I'm just not kissing up to these people. And I would tell him, well, you're probably not going to make chief then or captain because you got to kiss up to make it. And he refused to do it. Basically, he refused to worship people. And, you know, that's understandable. But if you want to progress in the military, you got to do a little worshiping. They don't have to be your God. But you got to do some respect and some honor. And when you get to that position and you get what you want, you pretty much can drop the worship act. And hopefully you don't become a jerk. And you can be nice to other people. Sadly, a lot of people don't do that. But that's a good example of where worship can come in handy, even when you don't feel, it doesn't feel good. Doesn't always make it wrong. If it's something that's going to go against your morals, though, then you've got to stick with your conscience and do what's right, because that is dictating yourself. You know, that's doing what you know you should do. That's the ruler of yourself. Okay, so let's see what else I wanted to. I think I got that. So, as far as praying to people who have passed on or talking to them, you know, I was raised that was just pure bad. You just don't do that. That if you're talked back to, it's probably a demon. Obviously, I was raised with a lot of fear. And I mean, yeah, I had my own fear, but I was raised with fear around me. People were afraid of everything. I was taught what I was taught in the Bible through fearful eyes. That if you don't do this, you're going to go to hell. If you don't do this, you're going to get possessed with demons. You know, if you do this, you know, it doesn't please God, and then you're not under His protection, and, you know, bad things are going to happen to you till you repent. And it was very controlling, very fearful. That right there should have been a sign to me that something was wrong. But I didn't get that for a long time. I didn't even get it when I left that mind frame. It still took me a while to figure out what really was going on there. And as I'm learning, I'm slowly getting more understanding of all that fear that was involved. Really glad to be out of it. Even then, I believed in facing my fears. But sometimes you don't know they're there, so you can't face them. But as far as, I've been reading, I like reading books and watching those shows about ghosts and stuff. And they're fun, and some things are made up, but I believe some things are real. I believe energy never dies. It goes somewhere. And I do believe that when we pass from this physical life, we have tons more to learn. You know, it's like in another adventure, you know, another chapter to the book. But I don't think it should be rushed. The reason I say that is, you know, if a child, you know, children want to grow up, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them. And we try to convince them that you need to enjoy your childhood because you're never going to get it back. And it's the same way with, you know, in the teen years, and then you get in your 20s, and then you get older and you're like, oh, I want to go back. You can't go back, but you don't realize you're at a time in your life that you're not going to get this again either, and you need to find each opportunity to enjoy. I dreaded turning 40. I'm 41 now, so you know, I'm glad I have a different attitude now. It's like I'm at a place where I know more than I used to know, and you know, next year I'm going to know more than that, and the next year more than that, and so each stage of life is something to learn. And I used to say that I didn't ever want to die. I used to find examples in the Bible of people who never died, quote unquote. That was debatable. And I'm at the point now where I would like to live a lot longer and learn more, see the kids grow up, explore. But when my time comes, I realize that that's just going to be another phase of growing up. That's another phase of learning. And I do believe that we can help the people. When we pass on, we'll be able to help people if we're in that frame of mind. If you already know everything and you're afraid of everything, I don't think you're going to be very helpful. Even when you pass on, because you still are going to be you. But if you really have a heart to change, really have a heart to better yourself and to help the world, I thoroughly believe we will do that. If we hang around here, you know, without going through the light, without going into that, whatever it is, that cleansing we have to go through, that would just cause trouble because we're staying because of fear. But to go through and then be able to do whatever it is Some people think they're, be reincarnated to become better. Some people think they come back like angel spirits. Either way, maybe both. But I do believe that we're going to be able to have opportunities to see what we need to do to better ourselves, and opportunities to help the ones that we're connected to on the earth in physical bodies. And that's pretty exciting. And so obviously, my opinion of the sort of ancestor worship is questioned. I don't like worship things that are dead, or to me dead, they're alive, but not to me. I mean, in the physical realm. But I realize that we ought to have at least a respect for them. If they're coming back to help us, a thankfulness and a willingness that this could be. I know when my dad passed, I didn't believe in any of this. But I did have a dream, and in the dream, he talked to me, told me that it was, he was okay, that it was scary at first, but now it's okay. And even then, I believe that the Lord had let my dad tell me that. Now I realize that, he probably, my dad probably has come back a few times, checked on things, seen how things work, why not? Yeah, so, but as far as, talking to spirits, you just got to use common sense. If it's something negative, if something's wrong, it's not right, don't mess with that. Protect yourself, put the protective light around you. If it's, if it's coming through that this is something that your mom or dad or, great uncle really would say, then it likely is them, and they likely are reaching out to help you and protect you and help guide you. And I think that's beautiful. It's not making them a god. Worshipping them, that's up to you. It's your decision. Worshipping something isn't necessarily a sin unless it goes against your conscience and causes trouble for people. So, I think that's about all. Oh yeah, no, that's about all my notes, so I guess I'll stop talking. Okay, well, to be continued another time with more musings from Lori in the bathtub.